If hell ever walked the earth, it walked in Auschwitz. Over 1 million people perished there, murdered, starved, gassed, or worked to death in one of the most notorious death camps in human history. Most did what they could to escape its horrors, but one man did something no one else dared. He chose to go there voluntarily. His name was Witold Pilecki, and this is his story. Witold Pilecki was born in 1901 in what was then Russian-occupied Poland. He grew up modestly, served briefly during World War I, and after the war, he settled into a quiet life. He married a schoolteacher, raised 2 children, and built a peaceful existence. There was nothing flashy about him, nothing that screamed hero, but that would change. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. 2 weeks later, the Soviets attacked from the east. It was the beginning of World War II, and Poland was caught in the jaws of 2 brutal empires. The Polish military was quickly overwhelmed, but the will to fight never died. Witold joined the growing resistance in Warsaw, a group called the Secret Polish Army. Though nearly 40, he became a steadying force for the younger, more impulsive members. Some even called him the nanny. But then, something strange started happening. Polish resistance fighters who were arrested and sent to a new German camp, Auschwitz, began dying in large numbers. Telegrams arrived announcing sudden deaths from illness. No explanations, no details. Something was very wrong. At a resistance meeting, one of the leaders turned to Witold and said, "A great honor has befallen you." They needed someone inside Auschwitz. Someone calm, dependable, discreet. Someone who could survive long enough to find out the truth. Witold didn't have to accept. He had a wife, children. He knew what could happen to them if he was caught. But he said yes on September 19, 1940. During a German air raid in Warsaw, he allowed himself to be arrested under a false name, Tomasz Serafiński. He was loaded onto a train and taken to Auschwitz. The gates loomed ahead, bearing the chilling words, "Arbeit macht frei," work makes you free. It was a lie. As soon as the prisoners stepped inside, the abuse began. Beatings, screaming, humiliation. Witold watched a man beaten to death just hours after arriving. At the delousing station, he was ordered to hold his prisoner number between his teeth. He hesitated and was struck in the face with a club, shattering 2 of his front teeth. Later, he would write, "I spat out the 2 teeth, par for the course." He was, now, prisoner 4859. The daily routine here was a nightmare. Backbreaking labor, starvation, constant fear. Prisoners died by the hundreds. Witold helped build the camp's first crematorium. But amid the horror, he remembered why he had come there. In October 1940, just weeks after arriving, he smuggled out the first report. A released prisoner carried it to Warsaw, and from there, it reached the Polish government in exile in London. This was the world's first eyewitness account of Auschwitz. Witold didn't stop there. He began organizing a secret resistance within the camp. They called themselves ZOW, the Union of Military Organization. They boosted morale, sabotaged equipment, smuggled food, and collected more intelligence. Risking everything, they even began preparing for an uprising. He urged the Allies to bomb the camp, not to destroy the Germans, but to give prisoners a chance to escape in the chaos, or at least to give them a quicker, cleaner death. But the plea was ignored. As the war dragged on, Auschwitz changed. It no longer held just Polish political prisoners. Soviet POWs arrived, then Jews and Romanis. The death toll escalated. In late 1941, the Nazis began testing a new killing method, Zyklon B gas, or liquid cyanide. It was first used on Soviet prisoners. Then entire trainloads of people, men, women, and children, were sent straight from the platform to the gas chambers. Witold and his underground network watched in horror as Auschwitz transformed into a machine of mass murder. They sent out message after message, pleading again for the Allies to act. Still, nothing happened. The resistance managed to build a secret radio transmitter, an incredible feat inside a death camp. For months, they broadcast reports directly to London. But eventually, someone talked. The Germans began cracking down. Witold dismantled the radio before they could trace it. Even in the darkest moments, they found ways to keep going. One prisoner smuggled in news reports from the BBC. Witold later wrote about the exciting news of hearing that the war hadn't been lost and that the Allies were fighting back. But by 1943, Witold realized that no one was coming. He had stayed 2.5 years, longer than anyone thought possible. But now there was little more he could do from inside. The uprising plan was too risky. The camp was too heavily guarded. The Allies weren't listening. It was time to escape. On April 26, 1943, Witold and 2 comrades managed to get assigned to the night shift at a bakery outside the camp. Under the cover of darkness, they pried open a steel door and slipped away. They ran through the night, dodging patrols, but Witold was wounded by gunfire. They survived only with the help of brave Polish villagers. After a grueling 100-kilometer journey, they reached safety. Witold immediately wrote a detailed report, his most complete yet, and again urged an attack on Auschwitz. Again, it was ignored. But Witold didn't stop. He returned to Warsaw and rejoined the resistance. In August 1944, during the Warsaw Uprising, he fought street by street to drive the Nazis out. The uprising was crushed, and he was captured. He spent the rest of the war in a German POW camp. He was finally liberated in 1945, but his fight was not over. After the war, Poland fell under Soviet control. A new tyranny replaced the old. Once again, Witold joined the resistance, this time against communist rule. In 1947, he was arrested by the Polish secret police. He was beaten, tortured, and accused of treason. On May 25, 1948, Witold Pilecki was executed by a firing squad. He was 47 years old. His name, his story, was buried, suppressed by the regime he opposed. For decades, no one spoke of prisoner 4859, but history has a way of finding the truth. After the fall of communism in 1989, Witold Pilecki's story finally emerged. His reports were published, his name was honored, statues were raised, schools were named after him. The man who volunteered for Auschwitz was no longer forgotten. Witold Pilecki wasn't just a witness to evil. He walked into it, eyes wide open, and fought it from within. His courage didn't save millions, but it showed the world what courage looks like when the cost is everything. Imagine opening a box and finding a metal paperclip that remembers its shape, bricks made from the world's most important metals, and games that twist your brain in 6 different directions. Every 3 months, the Curiosity Box delivers a hand-picked collection of science toys, illusions, and books designed to spark wonder and critical thinking. You'll also get illusion stickers, a brain-bending shirt, and a hardcover book called What is Color, diving deep into one of science's most overlooked mysteries. Each item comes with exclusive video lessons from Michael of Vsauce, content you won't find anywhere else. Click the link now and get 25% off your first box by using our promo code, Simple History. Let your curiosity take over.